This is important. This is real important. I'm telling you, you can't learn non-duality. But at the same time, what's non-duality? It means we can't learn what this natural state of presence is that's behind the level of thinking and emotions and sense stimulations and desires and projections and all that. The presence, our natural state, all that's happening inside that, in that space. That space is like the bottom of that ocean. It's like chill. So that's non-duality. We want to get that. Our life is suffering because it should be. Because if you're constantly on especially now, this ocean's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Like a wave will come and then the undertow will bring you back out and then the wave will hit you again and it just keeps happening. Like you can die out there. Actually, a few people died in the last couple weeks. I might have died too if I was in my 20s because I'd have been like, oh, I can handle this. Ocean ain't got nothing on this. I was in the military. Yeah, no, I don't do that today. So the surface level of that ocean is super unstable and rippy and everything, right? So that's kind of like the mental, emotional level and senses and all that. If that's all we know, we're going to suffer because we're supposed to. Otherwise, where would be the motivation to realize the deeper part of our own ocean self, which you can call non-duality or presence? So at first, when that motivation becomes alive in us to recognize our true state, because of habit, because we're used to, the identity with mind is so strong. We're used to just going to mind for everything, including spiritual endeavors and realization. So we repeat the same habit when it comes to when we start getting familiar with non-duality. We're like, how can I get this non-duality? I need to learn this non-duality. And so then you listen to the non-dual people, and a lot of them are just talking. The realization's not there. It's one thing to say something, it's another thing to embody the consciousness behind what you're pointing to. It's two different things. So for a while we try to learn this stuff, and then the mind or the ego will because see, you can have an intellectual grasp on it. That's one of the pitfalls. That's one of the traps. The mind can be like, oh yeah, it's like the emotions, the mind, all this, it's actually not real. It's just apparent because it changes, so it's not real. Wow, I'm awakened because I know it's not real. And then let something happen to them, and all of a sudden it's real again. And then if you ask them what happened, they may say, oh no, that's just apparent. I hit the old lady, but really there's no old lady and nobody getting hit. It's all good. You know, who knows? So for a while, we can't help but try to mentally understand the message behind non-duality and what it's pointing to. You can't, that's a stage. What are you gonna do? You have to do that. And we all gotta be a non-dual oak for a little bit. You know, there's different degrees of that, and there's different durations on how long that can last. So I hope it don't last too long when you're in that stage, because yeah, it's a sickening stage. It's cool. I mean, it's not, you know, whatever. So at some point we're gonna suffer. Life is gonna show us directly, like, whoa, we don't really know what we're saying. Challenges are gonna happen. They're gonna crush us, and then we're gonna be like something. We're gonna have an epiphany. Grace is helping us. It's gonna be like, well, you're a non-dual person. Like, why is this crushing you so bad? And then you're gonna get drove deeper inside yourself. You're gonna start to introspect and see, like, where am I not one with my words at? And why am I not one with my words? What's going on? And usually it's because we're trying to bypass our human nature. That's why I'm always saying true spiritual maturity is a balance between accepting our human nature, letting it play, Let the karmic destiny happen, at the same time being aware of our natural state of consciousness or formlessness or presence that's not, it can exist without this human form. And we'll find that out when the body leaves. It's better to find that out now, though, because that can help make this whole thing more easy. This is what a spiritual practice or true religion main aim is, to show us who we are beyond this human form. Then that realization, it'll just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. There's no end to it. And the deeper that realization gets, then you can say the byproduct of that, or the fragrance, is we'll experience our human life in a more joyful way, because we'll have more a longer duration in states of serenity or peace. And then that like feels good. See, God made it like that. That's our highest aspiration, is to feel good. Some people say, oh, you're only doing non-duality so you can feel better. Well, yeah, why else are we going to do it? Like, what are you saying? Like, what's going to make me feel better if not a spiritual practice or self-realization? What's going to make me feel better? Going, making goals and accomplishing them, and then getting bored with it and making more goals, and just, what, we're going to do that forever? That's cool. We can do that in the background. You can do that as a side thing. Like, I'm making videos, and do I have a goal? I mean, I like to see how more people are coming to see it. Those people who are supposed to see it. My goal, if you can say, it's quality, it's not quantity. I want those who really resonate with what's being shared here. And so then, yeah, I enjoy that number going up. God's using this form as an instrument to disseminate certain experience and knowledge. Of course I like that. But like, this isn't going to give me peace, and this isn't the like antidote to suffering. This is more like an overflow. I've realized something inside, and now something's sharing that, and then that sharing increases actually these nice feelings of contentment anyway. But see, God works all that out. It's not a systematic mental thing that I tried to, I'm like, okay, what's going to make me happy? And no, life is just flowing by itself. So that seems to be the three stages. Is first, some people have no spiritual practice, no devotion to anything. Our guru is achieving worldly accolades. This is our primary purpose for a while. It was mine. I went to Hollywood and tried to become an actor, and before that I was in the military. I wanted to be like Rambo. That was way too hard though. And so, we all have our little goal. I wanted to make a bunch of money and see how that felt. I wanted to get a good girlfriend, but then I realized it was all dualistic, meaning I felt good for a bit, and then it got boring, or it turned on me and I felt bad. So that's the first stage. We see that the world isn't going to give us true happiness. What's next stage? Next stage is we end up finding a spiritual practice. Here we're talking about non-duality. And so then we apply this mental faculty, just like we did with everything else in our life, to try to get non-duality. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. This is the answer. So that's second stage. And then at some point that burns out. And then something, you can say the third stage, something surrenders to the fact that it's like, I can't do anything. Not really. Not as good as if I surrender and let life do it, especially when we're talking about existential, intangible things like non-duality. How am I going to get? How's the mind going to get non-duality? So something realizes that. And then something just says, okay, God, I feel touched by these teachings and these pointings. I want to imbibe that. Can you help me assimilate that? What do I got to do? And you may get an intuitive thought to say, well, I need to look at what seems to be blocking it. I need to, if I'm spiritual bypassing stuff, I need to stop doing that and start seeing like what's really happening. And we might start getting guidance, like, oh, I need to change this aspect of my life and that aspect. Oh, how I react with these certain in situations and with people, actually that's not becoming of me. That's not very good. Not good, bad in a moral sense, but just like that's blocking my main thing that I say is my main purpose, which is self-realization. So I need to start looking at that. I can't stop reacting when my mom says whatever she says, or when your sister does something, or when your employer does something. Like, it's like, whoa, I can't. These habitual reactions are so deep. I can't stop doing it. But it's blocking me from realizing my natural state. But I can't stop doing it. What am I going to do? That's humility. Admit that. This is the thing that a lot of spiritual people miss. They just bypass it. Don't do that. Admit that, and then ask or pray or just surrender inside and just try to feel and let this deeper power guide you. And when you're in a situation, again, because life is going to prescribe it to you, you're going to be in a challenging situation again because it's going to keep prescribing until we get it. And then you're going to be like, okay, God, help me. Something, help me. Let me feel inside. Like, I don't want to react in this same way. It's like a tape recorder. I'm like a puppet. Life does this and I do that. Like, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to stay balanced. I want to stay tuned, inwardly aligned, even when this happens. So you have your surrender, your admittance that you need help with that. You've introspected. You saw you need help. You surrender that like you don't have the mental horsepower to do that. You ask for something verbally or just energetically that you need help. And guess what? Help starts to come. And then you start to realize what it feels like to be tuned with this inner power. And you start to realize the importance of surrender. And you start to see how ego can come up and you get complacent and start to think, oh, I got it now. You start catching all that. That's evolution. And when you catch that, you immediately, as best as you can, try to come back into this humble, surrendered state. That's an ongoing thing. Nobody can do it perfectly, but at least you know, like, there's a roadmap now. You have the recipe to wellness, or the recipe for awakening. But it manifests in a very individual way for each form. There's no, how that intimate process happens, it's different. It's same but different. All right, I hope you got something from that. So that's all I had to share on that. Have a good day.